The Flow Friday Night Sports Show continues on, and if you've missed any part of it, of course, it is being podcast right now. Get social with us here at Flow FM, Flow FM Australia. You'll be able to find the podcast via that way. Flowman, where else can you find it?
At Flow Sports, and I am so excited about that because the work of our journalists each week, they come up with articles, as we've got with Ellis and also with our next guest, Karl Carrington, who is joining us to talk about women's sport and some of the Australian Open tennis too. G'day, Karl. How are you?
Yeah, very good, boys. Pleasure.
Carlito, let's have a look now at W League. Now, you've been following this. The girls have been going okay. The Reds are going beautifully, much better than their male counterparts for a change. I don't think they've ever made the finals. But, Carlos, how's the W League going?
Yeah, the Reds, Adelaide United, are flying for the city of Adelaide. They're doing really well. They just beat Canberra United 2-1 last week and currently sit third. So they should be very much in place to make the finals.
Beautiful. How else? What else is going on there? What other scores have you got for us?
Yeah, well, we've got Sydney sitting still on top of the ladder, who have been phenomenal all year. They've won 6 out of their 7 games. Brisbane Roar, just behind them, have won 4 and drawn 4 from their 8 clashes. And Canberra round out the top 4, sitting in 4th, and Adelaide United beat them. So it was a real statement by the Reds.
Beautiful. Okay. All right, that's the W League comp, and we're going to have a bit more of a look at golden boots and MVPs and goal scorers in that competition later on. There's a big tennis tournament, though, that we need to get to, Flowman, in a moment.
We do, but let's go to the AFLW before we get Carlos here on tennis, because I want to ask him about scoring. Now, we've watched in recent weeks a couple of the women's teams have actually hit 10 goals. Brisbane this week have got their 10-5 to beat the West Coast 2-8. And then you look at the Adelaide Crows girls. Now, they got flogged by Fremantle in a game where they kicked 7 goals to 1. And I also noticed that in a couple of other games, a couple of the other sides only kicked a goal or 2. Is this the big problem with the women's game? And I know that you guys have talked a lot about that you like the women's game. I still don't. I still haven't been convinced. And I think the lack of scoring is something that doesn't convince me about it.
Yeah, I think that's as yourself, for many neutrals and sort of not regular AFLW fans, they struggle to find interest in the game because there's a lack of scoring compared to the men's game, and there's no real end-to-end sort of hitting the scoreboard and a free flowing of goals. So that's what the real disadvantage of the AFLW in the aim of gaining regular fans and watchers.
Boys, unfortunately, you've missed a really big trick so far in the AFLW. The best game of AFLW ever was played in the last round. It was clearly the best game, the highest skill level. It was exciting, free-flowing. Melbourne, 9-6-60, defeated North Melbourne, 8-3-51. Now, I started watching this and couldn't put it down.
Really?
It was really, really... Daisy Pearce is a star.
Oh, yeah.
She is as good as they come. Don't worry about that. And North Melbourne, they were tipped to win the flag, almost undefeated. Melbourne, beautifully done. They are top 4 material for sure, and that was easily the best game of AFLW I've seen. Easily.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that, and it was a real testament to where both sides are at, with Melbourne sitting in 4th now and North Melbourne sitting in 5th. So it was a real top-of-the-table clash, and 2 teams that should be playing finals.
Yes, indeed. We're going to head off to Melbourne now, and Melbourne Park, of course. The tennis is going on. Ash Barty, we lost our only hope in the tournament in the quarterfinal stage. A game she had dead to rights. Tell us what happened, Karl.
Yeah, it was a really poor display from Ash Barty, and as Flowman said previously, that the inability to adapt to the weather and the time slot that she was playing in might have played a factor in her losing the game, because she was really struggling in the previous encounter that she got through playing at night, and then playing in the afternoon might have just been a disadvantage for her to lose the game.
I think you make a good point there, Karl, and it I think flows through to Serena Williams' loss in her match against Naomi Osaka. Now, Osaka, I'm going to give it straight to you that I think Osaka is an excellent player. She is playing the very same game that Serena played back in her heyday when she dominated women's tennis. And I think Osaka is going to dominate women's tennis.
It's a passing of the torch in many ways.
I think if hit it right on the head there. That is exactly it. And you saw Serena struggle in the heat. It was Naomi Osaka who handled the conditions better. And I think at the same time, we've got Brady who has come through, the US girl. Actually, she beat her compatriot to Pegula. But again, handling the conditions better. And this is crucial if you want to get through the hot conditions of Melbourne Park, the Australian Open. You just mentioned something actually interesting there, Karl. That is the changing of the guard. Have we seen that? Is this Serena's final hurrah? Do you think she comes back and plays at Wimbledon, at the French, and maybe a swan song at the US Open? Are we seeing the last hurrah for the great Serena Williams?
Quite possibly, because the way that she reacted after her defeat to Naomi Osaka was emotional, and it was almost like she was giving a bit of a farewell to the Australian crowd. I think she will participate in the US Open later this year. I think that will be her sort of swan song if she doesn't come back next year. So she probably is preparing to play all the slams through this year and not focusing on the lesser tournaments, perhaps.
Yeah, if she is gone, good riddance. I won't miss her one bit, Serena Williams. I think she's been a disgrace on the court for the most part, and I say that, and I mean every word of it. Some of the ways she's behaved over time, abusing umpires, carrying on like a two-bob watch. Everyone talks about her being on par with Margaret Court. It's interesting, isn't it? Because Margaret Court was a perfect lady on the court, from all reports, and has been vilified off of it. And Serena Williams likes to vilify on the court and has been treated like some sort of superstar off of it. So for mine, I think if she doesn't come back to Australia as a tennis fan, I'll be quite happy with that.
Well, I reckon that was a controversial statement he's made just for the podcast. So that again, Flow Sports is the podcast where you can hear what Jason Regan has just said. I'm going to ask you, though, the Bradys, this is an American name, clearly. We go back to when Jason and I were lads, the Brady Bunch.
Yep.
Well, we've had Tom Brady, who's led the NFL this week, and now we've got another Brady, this young woman who's made it through to her first Grand Slam. She was nervous in getting there. 18 points, I think, or 18 hits, if you like, in that last game. 18 separate game points that were played for her to get over the line. Was it 5 match points? And she finally gets there, gets into a final, gets to play against Naomi Osaka, who I think is the best player in the world right now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so where do we go, Karl? Who wins?
Yeah, Naomi Osaka, for me, has this game written all over it because she is the world number 3 and the number 3 seed, and she's the best player left in the tournament. Brady's very, I wouldn't say fortunate. She's obviously worked hard to get to the final, but a real outsider for this game against Naomi Osaka.
All right, that's where we're at with the women's singles at the moment. The men's singles, Tsitsipas. I am a huge fan. Now, I tell you what, Flowman, this is your era. You will appreciate this. Yep. Carlos, you probably never saw this boy play, but Tsitsipas is an absolute dead ringer for a young born Borg.
Oh, yes.
Check it out.
Oh, yes.
He is a dead ringer, and I love watching this guy play. I really hope he goes on and wins the whole thing. And the way he played against Nadal, he came back from the dead in that game, Carlos. So for mine, he is as good a chance as anyone right now.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree with that. I love him. The way he goes about it, he's so charismatic. He's so got a flurry of shots. He can hit his forehand, backhand's phenomenal. Likened to the Roger Federer, really, with that backhand, the one-handed backhand. So he's a real favourite for this advancing to the final, and he's my tip for the tournament.
I was going to say Guillermo Vilas, who obviously the Argentinian.
No, I actually backed this up. I got some photos side by side and showed my wife Sonia as we were watching the game, and she went, "Yeah, he does look like that guy."
Oh, Carlos Moya or somebody like that too.
Watch some old footage on YouTube, folks, of Borg playing McEnroe in a Wimbledon final. And then have a look at Tsitsipas, same sort of dude. Novak Djokovic, we've got to talk about him because, he's going to play in the final. I don't think there's too much of a problem about that. But, look, did he fake an injury in this tournament, Carl?
Don't you go there now.
Did he fake an injury in this tournament?
My side's feeling sore right now.
Yeah, he might have. I wouldn't put it past Novak because he's that sort of character.
Yeah.
He's a bit controversial and he's had plenty of anger moments on court as well, smashing his racket before advancing. So yeah, there's plenty of plenty of controversy when Novak's about.
I reckon Rafael Nadal's family have got this wrong because they came out strongly and had a go at Novak and his side-splitting problem. And then Raf lost the next game. And I think that they were playing the game too. I reckon that they joined in. They got, sucked in. And I reckon Rafa Nadal, he thought he was home at 2-0. He thought he was in, and you can't at this level of tennis. Well done to the Greek man who actually beat Kokkinakis, the young Australian, and got there in 5 sets over Kokkinakis and was pretty lucky to get home, I thought, in that match. So fantastic stuff. Who wins? We've obviously got Medvedev and Tsitsipas. So if you're listening to the repeat on Saturday morning, you clearly will know who got through. If Medvedev gets through, I'm going to pick him to actually break through and get a win. I really think Medvedev has come of age in this tournament.
I'm not sure if you can remember, Carlos. You may remember, but I'd love to get the tape out because I think, if I remember correctly, I'm fairly sure I tipped Medvedev to win the whole thing last week.
And I tipped Simone Halep to win too last week, so there you go.
Well, I didn't have a tip, but my tip for now is it's Tsitsipas, and to beat Medvedev in the semi-final and go on to play Novak. I think that'll be a cracking final.
To be honest, I just hope someone beats Novak because he bores me and I don't like him.
Okay, he's actually made 9 Australian Opens in his career. The 8 others that he's made, he's won every one of them. So he makes the Australian Open, yet to be beaten. I guess, though, you've got to beat whoever's on the other side of the net. Carl, good to talk to you. You haven't given us your tip on Novak. You haven't said whether you like him or not. I haven't heard your comments at all. You let him go on Serena. I don't mind Serena. I think he was a little over the top.
No, I do like Serena. I just want to get an opinion from Jason on who he likes least, Serena or Novak.
They're both on par for mine. I'm not a fan of either, I've got to say, but I do love Tsitsipas. Go, Tsitsipas!
And you can hear all of this on the new podcast channel, Flow Sports.